What's popular YouTube? Another day, another news video from the Cynosure of CS2 News. That's right, it's launders, baby. You hired me for demo reviews. You got a little extra, and there's so much to talk about, so we're going to get into that. But before we do, we're going to talk a little bit about ASON, the best CS2 headphones on the market, as well as Boxer. We just did a new Boxer release in the store. Let's check out the video that Romo made for us. Legendary stuff. Romo's making the videos every year, and every month, and Taylor's designing the clothes. We got the Nuclear Fortune restocked on the store. Okay, that's event number 1 that I wanted to bring up. So much good shit here. B-Hop 2 is restocked. That's what I'm wearing right now. Check it out. Hard or what? Okay, and then not most importantly, but interestingly, I guess, something to bring up here on the Boxer store. We're moving up the classic and negative to the 6.5 ounce heavy cotton. Okay, so it's matching every single thing that comes in the other releases. And somebody on Twitter said, I could get that from H&M for the same price. And no, bitch, you can't, actually. Your girlfriend would dress you if you had one, okay? Just kidding, of course. My girlfriend dresses me all the time. Don't know why I said that, to be honest. And that comes with the Essentials release as well. We've got a beanie with all these different colorways. Sorry, this is a long ad. This shirt embroidered in a few colorways, as well as our crew neck with the insane embroidery. Check that out. Looks like jewelry, okay? So join the Boxer Movement Club, baby. Now's your time. Let's get into the news. We got a lot going on in CS2. Let's start off with the title, because s1mple is... Well, we don't know what s1mple is, but this is his message to w0nderfuL, who's now replaced s1mple on Navi. Let's listen.
Вообще хочется пожелать w0nderfuL много сил, потому что команда уровня Нави требуется много сил, чтобы проявить себя. Надеюсь, у него все получится, покажет себя на Тайр-1 сцене. Будет много возможностей, так как есть хорошие турниры впереди.
That's obviously a wonderful thing to say. We got this tweet from s1mple as well, if you've really missed the last week or so. So what's next? Time to take a break as I wanted, but that's only half of the story. Need to fix documents, take care of other people in my life. About switching to another org, never thought about it, but it would be interesting to see offers, maybe on Rifle, since op is not impactful in new game. While nothing is decided yet, I hope you still going to cheer for the boys in upcoming tournaments. So there's probably a lot going on in his head. I wouldn't be shocked if he truly doesn't know what he wants to do next, right? Like, this isn't some cryptic encoded message with some clues as to what he's thinking about. Maybe it's a little bit of both. It feels like he could be swayed either way, and we don't know exactly how he's truly feeling. Now, I would just like to say, though, right, if this was a move, for example, where he's going to retire, it doesn't seem like that is going to be the case, because he's thought about it. He's going to field offers potentially, but it's going to cost a pretty penny to get s1mple. It's the second half of his career. You don't know exactly where his motivation lies, but I mean, you're still going to do it, right? Franchise player, this guy's going to bring you in millions. Like, he might even win you a trophy or two. So why wouldn't you think about it? This might be literally a call to action for Falcons. Like, who's got the blank check? Oh yeah, the Falcons do. So anyways, and saying that he could rifle alongside m0ezi, but who knows what's going to happen. I think that, let's just say, for example, s1mple decided to quit. Okay, I've made videos, not as a joke, but just because they're sort of they're just vehicles for talking about other people's careers. I've talked about the Mount Rushmore of CS:GO. I've talked about the argument for ZywOo, and I've talked about how good other operas in different periods of time were, just to challenge the idea that s1mple may or may not have been the best player in CS:GO. Now, he is the best player in the history of CS:GO, and if he retired now, he would retire as the player who beat the game, and retire as the player who was the only one to get 3 number 1s in CS:GO. Now, actually, I don't mean to sully that right now, but if this year continued out, ZywOo would probably also get 3, but that's not going to be the case. I don't think HLTV are going to do a top 20 this year, but but winning is winning. s1mple he's passed every single test in terms of legacy. He got his chip, the ever elusive major. He's had the strongest professional year. This is my personal argument for him. He's had the strongest professional year of any player in CS history, which was 2018, where he was carrying the heaviest team possible against the strongest team in the world, Astralis, and all other teams, and was able to have the most dominant year that I've ever seen from a player who was playing from behind in that circumstance. That's on top of having the 3 number ones, the longest peak, the longevity, the major win, all the trophies, everything. Fully decorated player, and eye test, right? Everybody can agree that s1mple has reached heights that maybe no one else has. Maybe in one of these metrics, you could pull somebody else out, potentially on your judgment, but hard to say objectively, that's for sure. So if he does want to retire, maybe this is a good time. Why sully your name in CS2, right? Like, I think some people, for example, when it comes to conversations about gla1ve, will say that he's somehow retroactively removing result. I don't know. It obviously doesn't make sense because it's stupid. But watching gla1ve play today shakes people's confidence in the player that gla1ve was in the 4 years in which he won all those things, whether it was offline, online, majors, map records, everything, with his multiple major MVPs and 2 slightly different rosters or whatever. In the case of s1mple, this could be an observation, right? That this is something that fans do all the time. Is they go back and have a short, first of all, they have a short history, a short memory. Then they go back and they change what happened, and then they apply their own ideas to players that are happening now. But let me give you something for real, okay? More than CS players have talked about this before, but when you win everything, it's kind of hard to roll out of bed, right? Olofmeister is on record saying that he's one of our greatest champions. Are you going to say that he sullied his reputation or career or history by saying that? I don't think so. And I think facts are facts. Perception matters. And if you do feel like there's no motivation for you, or if you're going to take on the challenge of trying to win in a brand new game for a new roster and put yourself in the right headspace to hit that average consistency of top 2 in the world every year, if you're not willing to do that, why should you play? If you have more money than God, if you have the perfect sterling reputation, if you've got all the wins that you need to prove your value in CSGO, leave something to fawn over for the fans. Maybe you don't want to move on to CS2, but I just throwing that out there, something to talk about. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that, actually, because it's just a fun conversation to have. But that's s1mple right now. We don't know what he's going to do next. I'm actually going to back up here before we get to that. We've got some drama here between me and Loba, okay, because Loba said, didn't this guy love CS2 and did videos about how amazing the movement is and has it patched identical to CSGO, but just not right on the patch notes? Yeah, apart from the fact that they include... I don't know if he's new to Counter-Strike or something, but this isn't the first time. This is the first year that they've not included things in patch notes. Valve's CSGO patch notes for some reason are 5 lines. If you go look at Dota, you got an infinite scrolling page of patch notes and things you didn't even ask for. So CSGO has never had detailed patch notes, and lots of things have changed, especially to things like movement. They don't seem to want to address them publicly for whatever reason, but I in the movement community have been sending CS direct feedback to Valve, and they have been fixing things in CS2, and they have actually fixed a lot of things, to give them credit. But there was a point where they just stopped fixing things. So here I'm saying I'm on the dark side now because I'm actually kind of pissed off. There are some certain things, like when they patched over the sub-tick fix, where it removed sub-tick, made it 64 tick. People argued that you need to have everybody playing on the same thing to observe the bug itself, and it's there's a reproducible way to make this bug occur. You can literally test it for yourself with sub-tick or not. They know how the bug works exactly, and you can test it as many times as you want. That's not the reason that they patched over it. And the fact that they patched over it and didn't fix the problem, that really set me over the edge, I won't lie. And there's a few other things that we've sent them feedback on, that is myself and the movement community, that they haven't fixed and have continued not to after months, and no responses, of course, from Valve, because they don't want to affect public discourse about the way that they operate. So, all right, so I'm mad about a whole bunch of things right now with CS2. I think overall it is a well-polished core of a game so far, but the fact that there's no KZ, that's how you make me mad, Valve. That's how you send me over the edge. That's how you lose a fan, and that's how you lose an ally, okay? You don't add support for KZ. We've got people out here who have built amazing things for CSGO that don't have the ability to build them again because you don't have developer tools for third-party applications that they need to be able to build the tools they need to build the maps that we had before. So no KZ, no other community modes, no bunch of shit, right? Just a core game, fucking Valve deathmatch, and that's it. A bunch of nonsense. So let's get it going because it's a full release. Okay, it's a full release. All right. One last dance to the Blast Premier Fall Final. What the hell is this? I just made this video on Stabby and Stown and Jabby Stown and Jabby, who backstabbed cadiaN, and then Heroic had to lose all three of them, and then picked up Stown and Jabby. Well, now it looks like they've got their whole team again, so that's nice. And Casper cadiaN, he'll be standing in for the Royal Arena. Now, jokes aside, Jabby and Stown are held to their contracts, but weren't playing for the team. They were using two different players alongside Dupree, poor guy, to play their recent matches, which actually has gone really well for Dupree, by the way. But it looks like something can be pushed aside to allow them to play here. I guess this doesn't state whether or not Jabby and Stown will be playing. But there's lots of stuff that we don't know and what hasn't been resolved, and all these long-standing, complicated relationships that, I'm not privy to anything that I need to bring up in this situation. It seems like it's very ongoing. So cool. We get players back for the Blast Premier Fall Final. He's not the only one, actually. So we can go ahead and take a look at this. Twistzz to continue on FaZe for the Blast Fall Final again, and Vitality to add mezii for the Blast Fall Final because they're losing Magisk to Falcons, allegedly. Okay, so that's one thing. mezii joining the team is mad interesting. Mezii's actually the same age as Magisk, which is so wild to think about, for having such fewer years of experience. Of course, 4 majors for Magisk after joining Vitality and getting his 4th chip. And for Twistzz to continue on to the FaZe, but we know that Twistzz is most likely going to go to Liquid. Falcons? Liquid. Okay. There's so many crazy things that are happening right now. Yeah, expected to join Liquid for the end of the year. So it's a last dance. It's actually should be pretty interesting. I think it's going to make the fall final is going to be better for it, I think, overall. And I think it'll be nice for fans to see this. I don't know what kind of quality of gameplay that we're going to get out of these teams, but what have they got to lose? I don't think it's, yeah. What have they got to lose? I mean, let's get a show. And interesting pickup for mezii. I wondered right away, would Zonic have made this pick to grab mezii? He's actually somebody who he became an IGL. So when Henry G's Cloud9 was formed, he was picked up as somebody. And I remember Henry sent me these demos. I said, if there was any demos to watch about mezii, which one should they be? And he's like, watch this demo because you can see that mezii knows a lineup for every single piece of utility on every map. So he presented him as a guy who's very smart IGL, very knowledgeable on utility, super good at doing every role. Talking to some of his previous teammates are like, this guy is like he's a humble goat. He's the humble genius. He's a fucking utility master. He's got insane aim. He's really good at aim labs. All this stuff. So a jack of all trades sometimes can be shoehorned into support roles, IGLing or things. And as somebody who has not very much experience, this might be huge. To play on a team like Vitality, which is just like completely has an overwhelming amount of experience around him, and he doesn't have to be the IGL. He can actually just do support calling. I think that one problem with Fnatic for me with mezii calling was that they grouped up too quickly in some situations. Sometimes they were way too obvious in their defaults about when they were doing slow rotations back and forth, and I couldn't tell you what the tells were when I was casting their games. I could just tell you that it was very, very, very clear to the other team when they would go back and scour information. So there are some holes in mezii's game as an IGL. I think he did show his ability on some maps, but the consistency overall isn't there. Not in the same tier or level as Apex, who can do a whole lot more. So you can learn from the team and have better players as well. Okay, got to give him that credit as well. That the fact is, like, mezii didn't have a tier 1 team full of tier 1 players to call for. So this should show off the best version of mezii. That's what I would guess. I think this is really, really cool, an interesting pickup, and I think was probably not on like the blockbuster deal side of things in terms of cost. So, all right. Yeah, we've got some old guys rejoining their teams for the Blastfall final, which should be interesting. Oh, by the way, before I forget, wonderfuL and s1mple, same sensitivity, 3.09. And wonderfuL actually lived the dream. He lived the dream out. He played on 3.09 sensitivity, became a pro player, got picked up by Team Spirit, and replaced fucking s1mple on his own roster. You actually can't write it. You actually can't write it. That's just unreal. So, okay. All right. Source says Alex set to join NIP. Now, I do have a little bit of information here. NIP, we're looking for cadiaN. And I think that this was the two offers that cadiaN had were Liquid and NIP. And I think even people who had inside information on this were like, of course, not going to join NIP. If you have the choice between Liquid or NIP, you don't join NIP. NIP are a pretty horribly run org, to be honest. A lot of stuff that's happened with them just made me like not a huge fan of what's going on with them recently. But the team right now is going to consist of Config, Rez, Esatag, Headtrick, and Alex. I am hopeful for Alex, for Headtrick. I mean, there's not really a player on this team I'm not like rooting for in terms of their career trajectory. I mean, I'm not really excited about the lineup. However, I really hope for more for Headtrick. And I think that their last lineup was probably the best one, but they didn't make anything of it. So I don't know. Cutting Hampus doesn't seem smart to me. I don't really see how that helps. And I think the fact that they brought him back and it didn't work again, they bring Esatag back again. This is mismanagement to me. This is like Eternal Fire type shit, right? So whatever, I think this is a forgettable change. And I think NIP got to be very careful because they can end up as one of the teams moving into 2025 that won't benefit from having partner slots. They just literally on merit have to be a top team. This lineup will not be in the top 10. Okay? So when it comes to qualifying for events, handsome salaries and things like that, they won't have that. I mean, you have to be, I don't mean to sound harsh, but you got to have a realistic conversation about what your team's going to look like when you've got all this infrastructure, you're spending tons of money on players, and all you've got is some brand value. You actually have to outbeat lots of new players who are grinding CS2 and lots of pug lineups like Bet Boom, random stuff, not Bet Boom as a pug lineup, new lineups that are very promising, going to blow them out of the water, right? Everyone can see this from a mile away. Okay. Yeah, and Fnatic lose mezii, of course. This is tough for them. I think it makes sense to make the sale, of course, to go to Vitality, but this does leave them in a really awkward spot. Oh, yeah, was Dexter calling, actually? Sorry for Fnatic. It was mezii and then Dexter, I guess, and he was support calling. My fault. I should have... He was... mezii has IGL experience, so I'll put it that way. I'm pretty sure Dexter was calling when he came on the team. Forgot about that move. Anyways, not the biggest deal in the world. Next up, and coming to round out the news today, we've got MIRAA and Sitch returning to HLTV news team. This is big. I mean, MIRAA was working for Dexerto. He was doing a lot of the roster announcements and some interviews that were very thorough, very good. I mean, he's been in the game for a long ass time. When you ask people questions in Counter-Strike, you are listening because he's asking good questions. Sitch is actually somebody I've known for a long time. Used to work for HLTV way back. He left to go to school. I think he was working some kind of job. I remember I had a one-on-one with him talking about the job that he wanted to do and moving out of esports. Fuck all that, man. Come on back. Like, to work for HLTV, this is huge in terms of the writing team they have at HLTV. There's levels now. Like, no one's close to HLTV in terms of what they can offer. I'm very happy to see both of them back here. The content with them and Nero is one of their newest is just going to be lights out. I'm sure of it. So HLTV is an incredible site. It's one of the only sites that I go to that's not Google when I start my day. And I think that is probably the biggest compliment that I can give to them. So very excited to see this. Yeah, here's the news team right now. This full lineup is absolutely stacked, honestly. Everyone's making good shit here. So that's great. Love to see that. Absolutely excited. It's rare that you see like team news that you'd get excited about, but we are at that level. These guys are all like legends at this point. So, okay. The last bit of interesting thing is I want to know what this man knows. I want to know what he knows about CS2. What does this man know about CS2? Because James has been having a great time in CS2 so far, and my next demo, I think I want to be a James demo, okay? Because if there's somebody who's, it's going to be an IGL and a top individual player. He's like the perfect, it coalesces perfectly at James, right? Right, like right here, where you've got one of the smartest players, one of the guys who's dragged teams multiple different lineups to top placings. Then he's got a brand new game to eat up. He's got a unique philosophy always comes with it. Like, why aren't we learning from James? You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm about to go ahead and check out some James demos. If you got a player for me to watch some demos, you let me know. I'm going to do that for Monday. Okay? Check it out. Why don't we have an editor for this? Because news videos, I want to make them, put them up right away. We're going to have new, better videos and new shorts that are edited by Vivid. Shout out to Vivid, doing a great job for Mondays. Okay, stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Shout out to ASON, best CS2 headphones on the market. Love you, appreciate it. If you like the news, let me know in the comments. Leave a like, all that stuff. And again, check out the Boxer store. You won't regret it. If you don't like the clothes, I want to hear about it because we make them everything ourselves. And Taylor designs everything. His parents are printing everything. We've been doing this for many years. We're doing it right. And we're homegrown, baby. Homegrown.